Hey, welcome back. We have a knife here. I can't put this one on the screen because it's got a bunch of personal information on both sides. So let me go ahead and open it up here off screen. Going to use the Demco 8020.5 to open it. This is one of those boxes that's been reused a couple times and it's on its last legs. So, oh yeah, I forgot he did this. This guy, he threw in a little something extra for me, which I appreciate. And a Beretta bag. And here it is. Man, this has been one that I've been awaiting for quite a while, but I'll just show you real quick. This guy's super cool. This seller that I got this from. And he threw in this pry bar that is a pretty neat looking one. You know, I forgot the maker. You might know it based on this here, and I'll probably try and look it up if I can in the meantime, because I should give a plug for this guy, because this is freaking cool, the way this is all sculpted and stuff, but neat pry bar there. I'm going to go ahead and put that one aside. I may come back to it at the end if I can get the info on what who the maker is, but it's it looked very custom there, so let's get into it, and then I'll maybe swing back to that at the end of the video here. So, long awaited. This is amazing that Craig Brown is using this same certificate of authentication, authenticity back from the very beginning, because this is Brown Knives Parabolic number 12. And you may recognize this knife because it was featured on some pretty popular Instagrams and YouTube channels like Epic Snuggle Bunny, who I didn't really even know about until I bought this, just because he hasn't been as into doing the videos since I really got into this stuff. But this is the Brown Knives Parabolics. This is like the 12th knife that Craig Brown ever made. Very beginning, it's a full integral, as you can see. This particular one is copper. You may not be able to tell. It may look almost like leather. I thought initially it might be leather or something, but it is copper inlaid. And yeah, I love the fuller hole and the flip tab. And this is, I think, one of very few that he did in hand rubbed satin. And I'm curious, that lockup looks pretty light there. It's kind of hard to tell. It looks a little early, but let's see how the action is on this thing. Hey, not too bad, all things considered. That's pretty good with the thumb hole there. I'm not looking at this knife for the action. I'm looking at it for pure collecting and finishing off my Brown Knives collection. So this now rounds it out. I recently got an awesome Exponent and an awesome, what was the other one that I got recently? I got the Exponent and the Servo. And yeah, that is all. So this one's actually been sharpened. As you can see, I went back and watched a bunch of videos about the history of this knife. And it was sharpened by a pro that does a mirror polish. So it has been resharpened. It's not just like something that sat there. This thing was carried, particularly not by the guy that I got it from, I don't think much, but particularly by the original owner, the Epic Snuggle Bunny guy. I don't even know who that guy is, but man, his videos are very impressive. I feel like I watched that and he knew a lot more about knives 6 years ago when he was reviewing this knife than I do today. It's pretty humbling. But yeah, one of the things that stands out immediately is that this is a hand-rubbed satin blade, which apparently afterwards, per that video, he said that Craig Brown was not so keen on doing again. The action is very interesting on this knife. It's kind of, trying to think of the right term. It's clunk, not click. Yeah, it's kind of soft, a little muted almost, but very unique. Let's see if what's written inside there. Does that say something pocket? I swear I'm not just saying that because of the name of my channel. Where did my flashlight go? I've been doing some cleanup around the desk, and sometimes when I clean up, I actually have more trouble finding things. Oh, here it is. Let me get a little view on that. It's funny, it almost looks rusted in there. Parabolic, maybe? Yeah, I can't read it. Oh, there we go. It's meant to be viewed this way. It says number 004. No, is that what it says? D012R. I don't really know what that is. There's something inscribed on the lock bar there. And I'm having trouble really reading it. So maybe I'll put a little view of that on the video and someone can come back to it later and try and figure out what it is. But anyways, he does nowadays a lot of stuff like that where he writes stuff in there. One of the things that stands out to me though, looking at this, is the milling inside of here is pretty cool to see how he milled out the integral. Yeah, you can really see the milling lines and stuff where he took out the material from his titanium frame. So yeah, really impressive for what it is, you know, 6-year-old knife. His first knife he ever made, you know, he made obviously a handful of these. This is number 12, but for what it is, it's really pretty remarkable. Lock bar materials listed there, which is kind of cool. Some sort of steel compound, it looks like. Stainless steel, it says. Say 416. Having a little trouble reading that. And then CPM 154 from the very beginning, which he does a lot of his knives in today. So yeah, this is cool. Really excited to have it and, you know, round it out. So now I get to go do a history of brown knives video, which I think will be fun. Help get everyone a little bit of the information. So I've got a lot of research to do before I go there. I'm not going to go pull them all out tonight. But I think that'll be really fun to get into. And, you know, if you know the channel, you know I'm a pretty big fan of brown knives, and that I live in Bellingham, Washington, about 30 minutes from Blaine, Washington, where these knives are made out of Craig's shop and home. Yeah, there's some funny things about this, like almost no cutout here to get to the lock bar. No jimping on the lock bar. The lock bar is very strong. It's not a terrible knife by any means. Parabolic, by the way, the term, you can kind of see that this represents a parabola, which if you're not familiar with in math, or maybe you are but forgot, is a equation, I guess you would call it, or a mathematical concept, or however you want to call it, about the idea of a line that comes in, that essentially departs a point at two equal, I don't think you'd call it angles, but mathematical progressions that eventually, I believe, head towards like a zero angle at the end, and like sort of infinitely decline in their angle, I think is the right description of a parabola, but maybe not the best description ever. But yeah, basically the concept of it's an equation that talks about how something can arrive and then leave, and it arrives and leaves at the same, you know, basically at the same parabola, I guess is what you would call it. You know, whether it's a broad one like this or a narrow parabola, same concept. So yeah, that was a terrible description. It's been 25 plus years, I guess, since I learned about parabolas. But generally my understanding. So you can see, you know, Craig Brown's known as being an engineer, machinist, and now a knife maker at this part of his career. And actually, you know, it's really cool. I just won my first Craig Brown drop. which is really neat. I never won one, so I did just win on the semi-custom drop, that lottery, or whatever you want to call it. Won a book spot. And I'll be ordering my first one from Craig. He just acknowledged that today, which was exciting to see, and I'm definitely looking forward to becoming one of his actual direct customers for the first time, as opposed to having bought every other one on the secondary. So I love this old Pelican case, by the way, and how he actually has this cut out to exactly fit the knife. I think that is really, really cool. So I think one decision I have to make here is, do I want to leave this sort of patina that's developing on here, or do I want to go get this cleaned? You know, either send it in to Craig for a spa, or even just do it myself, and take that back down to more of the original copper look. Not 100% sure which way I'll go there, or whether I'll just leave it. I'll probably just leave it. But yeah, really neat knife. Very cool to have it. It's heavy. That's one thing I'll definitely point out. This thing's not light. I would guess in the range of 6 ounces, if not more even. I don't know, 6 ounces, I think. Feels substantial. Sometimes knives, based on their shape and sound and everything, are deceiving. Once I get above like 4.5 ounces, I oftentimes can't tell. Yeah, 7.1 ounces. Pretty substantial knife there. Good detent on the pocket clip. Not so sure how much I would love that. It felt very hard to get this up to go over a pant. But yeah, kind of cool. I hid 2 screws in here underneath the pocket clip. Kind of a sneaky way to do it. If you had done, I guess you can't do that screw from the inside because this knife doesn't clamp together. So integrals, very interesting. Very interesting, by the way, if you look at this, no screws on this show side, and really just the 1, 2 showing here. I wonder what that one is for. Is that for the lock bar or something? I'm trying to think of why he needs a screw right in the middle there. If he doesn't need it on this side. Guess I could look inside, see if I can see or tell. I don't know what, I do see that one go all the way through, I think. Yeah. I just don't know what it might be for, so. Yeah, interesting knife. Quite a collector piece there. One of very, very few knives that I've bought sort of outside of what I look for. Like almost every one of the other brown knives even that I have, even if it's an older one, I specifically looked for something that really stood out to me. These are so hard to find. I put out an in search of on Blade Forums, and a guy responded to it that had bought this, I think, from Epic Snuggle Buddy himself. I can't remember if he bought it from him or if he bought it from someone that bought it from him. I think that might have been what happened. But said he had it, wanted a knife that I had, and actually he ended up getting 2 really nice knives that I had, and then gave me some cash. But really cool guy, and just completed the brown collection. So hopefully his contribution, if you will hopefully be something that helps me make a contribution to the knife community as I go do my full brown collection finally, and get to go visit that, because I've been wanting to. Those have been really hard to collect, harder than Rosie's, frankly. They're different, but harder. There's fewer people that have them, fewer total made. Rosie's are more like diverse because it's one model over, you know, now 1,500 plus variants. But brown, you know, 300-400. Some of these earlier ones, this was like 35 made of these, I believe. I'd have to double check with someone like Craig or whoever, but I think only 35 of these were made. And, you know, some of those early models like the Exponent, I think only a couple hundred were made. So just a different kind of beast to track down, but really cool. So maybe I'll do one last little close up here. Really nice orange peel here on the titanium. The hand rub satin blade's pretty ridiculously nice. And we'll call it. Hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.